2026 is here. Big 12 play is upon us for the West Virginia Mountaineers, and they got a tall task ahead against the undefeated Iowa State Cyclones on the road, Hilton Coliseum, Ames, Iowa. It's going to be a tall task. It's going to be a tough test. We got you covered here on this game preview episode of Mountaineer Moment.
This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go.
Welcome in, Mountaineer fans, to another episode of Mountaineer Moment. My name is Troy. I am your host, and this is your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. Happy New Year to you. It is 2026, and West Virginia's got a tough test coming up as they start the new year, as they start Big 12 conference play here in 2026 with a visit coming up on January 2nd, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, tip on ESPN2 against the undefeated, third ranked in the whole country, nationally ranked third, undefeated Iowa State Cyclones on the road. Hilton Coliseum. Mountaineers haven't played a road game yet. And so this is a tough test to open up Big 12 play for West Virginia. And we're going to give you a few things that you need to know here. This is obviously a West Virginia podcast. And so we're going to give you all that you need to know relating to the Iowa State Cyclones, relating to West Virginia as they head into this tough game on the road. We're going to give you some names to know for Iowa State. Obviously, an incredibly talented team, good coach, good program, good home court advantage. They got a lot going for them, not just in this game, but this season. Going to give you some numbers to know relating to this team that just kind of stand out just based on, obviously, their unbeaten success that they've experienced and just some things that jump off the page at you relating to what they've been able to produce this season, and then give you a little bit of context as to how they've gotten here on this young season, what they did in the non-conference slate to get to their third-ranked position and who they've beaten up on along the way. So, again, this is Mountaineer Moment. This is episode 119. This is your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. Why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us? YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, just so you can help me help you be in the know when we have new content coming your way. All right, so it's been a flawless start. We'll start with Iowa State, then we'll get into some West Virginia stuff. We'll give you, again, some context on this Iowa State team. It's been a flawless 13-0 start for the Cyclones, leading to their national ranking of number 3. They've picked up notable wins along the way: Mississippi State, St. John's, Creighton, Syracuse, and Iowa. All of those, leading to this 13-0 start. But their lone true road game of the season, mentioned a moment ago, West Virginia has lost 4 games on neutral site courts, but they haven't played a game on the road yet. Iowa State, they've only played 1 game on the road, and it came against the then number 1 ranked Purdue Boilermakers, and they took it to them. Just about a month ago, December 6th, Iowa State put a second half beat down on the number 1 ranked team in the nation, Purdue, and they won that one going away. It was 81-58. It was just a 4-point lead at halftime for Iowa State, and it was a bit of an off-shooting night for Purdue. Purdue shot just 4 of 18 from 3. They shot just 6 of 14 from the free throw line. That's not going to win you many basketball games, but Iowa State deserves a ton of credit for the defensive performance that they put forth in this one, holding Purdue to well below their season average. As a matter of fact, Purdue's currently sitting at 12-1. Their lone loss, one blemish on the season, came at the hands of this Iowa State team. They're well below, Iowa State held this Purdue team well below their season average of 86.2 points per game this season. So 13-0 record for Iowa State, but this one stands out above the rest, even above a St. John's team that was ranked, even above Mississippi State and Creighton and Syracuse and Iowa. Iowa State putting the beat down on the road against Purdue, 81-58. Just dismantling the Boilermakers in that one is the one that stands out. I mean, that was one of the more impressive wins across all of college basketball through November and December. This one's tough to top. 81-58 on the road. So, Iowa State came into the season ranked 16th in the AP poll. So there was obviously some talk about the quality of, basketball team that this was here in Ames. But when they came out and did that against Purdue, they obviously turned a few more heads, and they've continued to do so as they've remained unbeaten. And so they have an impressive resume. They got some guys, they got some dudes that can really back that up, and we know them. If you followed Big 12 basketball for the last number of years, some of these guys that we're going to talk about here in just a moment. But first, I want to give you some numbers that you need to know relating to this Iowa State team that have been, leading to this impressive start for their season. First number I'm going to give you is 27.5. 27.5 is Iowa State's point differential plus 27.5, which leads the Big 12 conference. Put that in perspective to show you what those numbers exactly mean. So Iowa State's averaging over 90 points per game, and they're only allowing 62.8 points per game. So over 27.5 point differential to the plus side for this undefeated 13-0 basketball team. Obviously, you figured that number was going to be pretty high, but 27.5 leads the Big 12, and they're just routing teams, right? Purdue, no exception to that, beat them by 23 points. Very impressive stuff. The then ranked number one team in the nation. Impressive stuff. Second number I'm going to give you, I got three of them. So that's number one, 27.5. Second number I'm going to give you is 41. 41. Through the first 13 games of the season for the Cyclones in the non-conference, they have been nuclear. They have been red hot from beyond the arc. They rank first in the Big 12, shooting it at 41% on the season from three, and that's actually good for fourth in the nation in three-point percentage. So they shoot them and they make them. 41% as a team from three through 13 games is really, really impressive stuff for Iowa State. 27.5 point differential, 41% from three, and then thirdly, they're averaging 10.2 steals per game, which leads the Big 12. 10.2 steals per game, leading the Big 12. Obviously, we know their good point guard, Tamin Lipsey, an incredible defender, just an incredible defender, leading the Big 12. Helping Iowa State lead the Big 12 in steals. He's averaged over 2 steals per game the last 3 seasons as a freshman, sophomore, and junior at Iowa State. And here as a senior, Tamin Lipsey's averaging 2.6 steals per game. He's an absolute menace on the defensive end and is just really, really good. Now we're going to turn to some of these players, and that's our introduction to that. That's our segue, where we're going to start with Tamin Lipsey and what you need to know about him. We know what he brings to the table defensively. We know what he does in the steal department. But he's truly one of the best point guards in the nation. He's averaging an impressive 6 assists, and he's not even averaging 1 turnover per game. So a 6-to-1 turnover assist-to-turnover ratio is absolutely insane. He's averaging a career best 14.2 points per game is Tamin Lipsey, and so he's getting it done on both ends of the floor. He's the point guard, he's the captain, he's leading their way out there to this undefeated season so far. Tamin Lipsey, really good, going to cause problems for West Virginia. He just is. He's that good. And we'll talk about that in a moment. We'll round it out with a couple more players to keep an eye on who are also doing some incredible things in the stat sheet through 13 games for this team. So 6'9" senior Joshua Jefferson, averaging a team leading 18.1 points per game and 7.1 rebounds. And he's averaging 5 assists too, which, I knew the points and rebounds were there, but to be honest, I didn't know Joshua Jefferson had it like that. 5 assists per game so far in the young season. He's eclipsed the 20-point mark 5 times through 13 games, and he's also got 5 double-doubles. And as you can tell by that average with assists and rebounds, he's doing it in a variety of different ways. I don't know how many of the 5 are, points and assists, but it's 1 or 2, I believe. Where he's getting a double-double with points and assists and points and rebounds. He's really stuffing the stat sheet. He's crept upon triple-double here and there. He might just get one before the season ends, averaging 18, 7, and 5. is pretty remarkable for the 6'9" forward Joshua Jefferson, who's been a force, who's been a dominant force for Iowa State so far this season. The last person we're gonna throw a name out there who's been there, done that for the Cyclones as well. Milan Momcilovic, who is really, really good sharpshooter, elevated his game here during his junior season. He's averaging 17.9 points per game. And again, we mentioned 41% as a team. Well, that's doing from three. That's due in large part to this sharp shooter. Absolutely sensational from beyond the arc this season. He's making almost 54% of his three-point shots, and he's getting them up at a high rate, over 7 attempts per game from three, and he's knocking them down. 54% from three is absolutely insane. Obviously, that leads the Big 12. I believe it's second best in the nation right now. If he continues to do it at that rate, he's going to be a lottery pick. I don't know I really don't truthfully know what his outlook for NBA and things like that, but he's got good size at 6'8", and he's knocking down lots of shots from beyond the arc. So sharpshooter, really, really, really good. Is Momcilovic, if I'm saying that correctly, I hope so. I've obviously seen him play over the last number of years, but he's taken his game to another level, averaging almost 18 points a game here. So, I'd say just as a whole, those are some specific details, but on the whole, if you just take a 30,000-foot view, at this team, they're really good. They got talent, those three guys we mentioned, and even more. They got some good depth to them. They're averaging, those three guys are obviously 18, 17, and 15 points per game. They got a number of other guys who are playing a heavy load of minutes and around 10 points per game, 6 points per game, getting it done. But Jefferson, Lipsy, really stuffing the stat sheet for this team: points, rebounds, assists, steals, all of that. So just really good. And, it's no accident, like the numbers that you go deeper into detail, it's no accident that this team is ranked number 3 in the country. It's no accident that they knocked off number 1 Purdue on the road. They're really good. And West Virginia's got their work cut out for them. It's going to be a, Ross Hodge and this team, it's their debut in Big 12 basketball. Well, welcome to it. You get your gift, what you're handed is the number 3 ranked team in the nation, a road game at their place, and you haven't played on the road yet this season. So cards are stacked against you a little bit in that regard, just because of the, talent that this Iowa State team has, the level of play that they are performing with at this moment, just really, really good. And there's no doubt West Virginia has their work cut out for them, as we talk about just a little bit here to close out this episode 119 of Mountaineer Moment. West Virginia's got the work cut out for them. And, there's a number of different things. We released an episode previous to this one just talking about, well, let's be honest about the current state of this West Virginia basketball team right now, because you've beaten up on teams that you're supposed to beat. And those games that could go either way, or against a step up in competition, in a power conference team. Again, we know the story: Clemson, Xavier, Wake Forest, Ohio State. West Virginia lost all 4 of those games on neutral site, neutral courts. And, well, from here on out, what we know is West Virginia is going to be playing in the Big 12. From here on out, you're going to play a lot of ranked teams. You're going to have lots of road games. You're going to have lots of hostile environments to walk into. And you have not fared well against teams in the power conferences, right? You beat Pitt and you lost the other 4. Not good, considering you're heading into Big 12 play, where it's going to be nothing but, teams that are better than the teams you've played for the most part. Lots of ranked teams, lots of challenging arenas to walk into, halfway across the country, in this Big 12 conference. So West Virginia is heading into a gauntlet. They just really are. I'm not going to, not to spend so much time thinking about the full picture, because you got to take it one game at a time, but you got Iowa State, Cincinnati, Kansas, Houston, the first 4, right? 3 of those teams are ranked. 2 of those games are on the road against Iowa State and Houston. You get Cincinnati and Kansas at home on January 6th and January 10th. Then January 13th, you're back on the road for number 8 Houston. We know it. We know the program that they are building and have built and currently just have, and what they've been able to do in Houston. Iowa State, same thing. Tough test. This is not going to be easy. Ross Hodge knew it wasn't going to be easy. But I think one of the things that we talked about in the previous episode, right? Well, let's be honest. Let's be honest about this current West Virginia team, what they got. There are a few things that they need to get right in order to win some games. Not sitting here saying in order to upset Iowa State. We're not even necessarily thinking along those lines, but just in order to win basketball games, in order to be competitive, in order to improve. An improvement would be winning some basketball games against power conference opponents, which is all you got from now on, because you're in the thick of things in the Big 12 now as the calendar turns to January. One of the things we mentioned in that episode, and I'll bring it up here again, is it's been a vanilla-looking offense at times for West Virginia. A lot of times they're relying on Honor Huff a lot more than they should offensively. As good as he is, as many shots as he's knocked down, as impressive as Honor Huff has looked from beyond the arc, almost seems at times you're not getting a whole lot of other guys involved. Belo, I'm thinking of the game against Ohio State. Brendan Laurent had a great first half, and then foul trouble. It might have been foul trouble too, but just it didn't look for him in the second half. Didn't look for him down the stretch. It was Honor Huff running around shooting three, or Chance Moore driving at the basket, and that was kind of the offense. And what we've learned through a couple of these have been borderline second half collapses. If we're being honest, because West Virginia's had a lead in a couple of these games heading into halftime. What we're finding out is that in the second half, we'll get to the defensive side in a moment, but in the second half, offensively, it looks a little vanilla, looks a little predictable, and the offense is struggling. Because, again, as good as Honor Huff is, even as good as Chance Moore is at driving toward the basket, it's not getting the job done. It's simply just not getting the job done. And teams are keying in on that. They're doubling that. They're ready for that. They're prepared. And West Virginia is struggling offensively as a result. Defensively, I don't know if anyone else is saying it, but I've said it a bunch here on Mountaineer Moment, that the Achilles heel has been second half defense. All 4 of West Virginia's losses, you've surrendered 40-plus point second halves to the opposing team. That's not in Ross Hodge's vocabulary. That's not how he wants to win games. That's not in his DNA. Defensive-minded coach. West Virginia, in every other game where you've won, you've liked what you've seen defensively. Against Clemson, you held them, I think, to 25 in the first half. Against Ohio State, you held them in the 20s too. But both those teams, to go along with Wake Forest and Xavier, went for 40-plus in the second half. And it's no coincidence that you lost all 4 of those games. Ross Hodge and this offense, this defense, whatever you want to say, they're not built. They're not desiring to be a team that's going to be in the 80s or 90s. They're not Alabama. They're just not. And it makes sense that West Virginia has lost 4 games when they've given up so many points in the second half. So, second half defense needs to improve. And in a lot of ways, second half offense needs to improve. Be a little less predictable, because even in the non-conference slate against non-power conference teams, West Virginia has seen success, has had success by getting a lot of guys involved, right? So many different leading scorers. One night it's Harlan Obioha getting involved. One night it was, DJ Thomas. One night it's Honor Huff. One night it's Belo. One night it's Jasper Floyd in the season opener. One night it's Trayson Eaglestaff catching fire. That's the kind of offense that West Virginia should be seeking to have even in games against power conference teams, even against teams in the Big 12. But it hasn't been that. It seems like it's been Honor Huff. And it's not a slight at all to Honor Huff. It's just the fact that we need to get that boy some help, because he can't do it all by himself. At this point, we're seeing Honor Huff could go out in a game against not necessarily Iowa State or whatever, but like Cincinnati, make 8-9 threes, and you might lose because no one else is giving him help. Ross Hodge and Honor Huff will tell you, right? If he comes out and gets red hot and makes 8 or 9 threes, you're hoping that the supporting cast around him can get enough points to help you win that game too. I'm just saying. So, but this specific game, as we round out this episode, I don't know if it's out yet at the time I'm recording, but what the odds are, what the spread is, for this game. West Virginia, I'm pretty confident will be a double-digit underdog against Iowa State, and rightfully so. But I think, as far as, I'm not even going to call it keys to victory, but just keys to this game for West Virginia are some of the things that I just mentioned, and just getting everybody involved and playing their role. You can only win a game if you score more points than the other team, and you're only going to do that if you have a number of different guys involved, shooting it efficiently, getting open looks and knocking them down, gang rebounding. Like, there's all sorts of things that this team needs to do to show some continuity that we have not seen yet in games against higher level opponents. And Iowa State undoubtedly will be the best team West Virginia has faced to date this season. And they currently, West Virginia is currently sitting at 9-4. They've had 4 losses to 4 unranked teams. Now you got the number 3 team in the country on the road. So you got to stick together on the road. I think Jasper Floyd, as far as keeping this game close, or however you want to describe what your goal is for West Virginia in this game, Jasper Floyd, I think, is big. Your point guard, veteran, on the road, hostile environment, your first road game. You got to help these boys stay connected. And you don't want to beat yourself, right? If we could label like that's a key to this game. You don't want to beat yourself. You don't want to have costly turnovers, costly mistakes. You don't want to go on these long scoring droughts. You need to be efficient. You need to be effective and play hard. Go get them. And, again, I think West Virginia, as much as they have struggled in second halves defensively, Ross Hodge, I have the complete confidence in his ability to lead this team, especially, defensively, and what he brings to the table, and the fact that this team, I think, still has potential to be a really, really good defensive team, even through Big 12 play. Well, start right here on Friday against Iowa State on the road, right? Defense can travel. Well, let's see it. Stick together, fly around everywhere, make it hard for Iowa State, and let the chips fall where they may, right? Let's see what happens. But tough test to open up Big 12 play for Ross Hodge and company. Welcome to the Big 12. Here we are. You're coming to Hilton Coliseum, number 3, Iowa State on the road. Good luck. And this is episode 119 of Mountaineer Moment. We'll have you covered right here on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. We'll have you covered with post-game reaction and analysis to this game between the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Iowa State Cyclones. And we will see you next time on Mountaineer Moment.